I knew what I said was gonna cause some tension, and that's okay. I stand on everything I said. But since y'all are having such a disconnect, let me go ahead and break it down for you. You don't have to go to college to find a man. But what's not common is you don't see a lot of black women sitting in the audience either engaged or married, even though we are the most enrolled. On top of that, 1 in 4 of us are married. So even though black men marry us at higher rates than they marry outside of their race,
Because of regardless of whatever they say, we're very loyal to these mugs. But continue.
and they are the demographic that marries interracially the most,
Not all, but most.
they're still not marrying black women at substantial rates compared to other races. White women almost double in marriage. What I'm speaking to is a mentality. Black women is the only group of women that says things as a collective. I don't need a man. I'm strong and independent. Fuck a nigga, get money. I can raise my kids on my own. I can do everything by myself. We're the only group of women that disassociate ourselves from our men. And the very moment that they come with their preferences in response to our standards, we have the audacity to say things like they're insecure, sassy, zesty, misogynistic, or they just simply hate black women. Y'all don't practice what you preach. A lot of y'all are trying to heal from the hurt that your father caused, and you taking it out on every man as if you dated every black man, and then we'll have the audacity to say, well, these men are not doing this, these men are not doing this.
Lie.
The definition of insanity is doing something the same way, expecting some different results, and y'all keep doing stuff the same way because it's a mentality. So I'm fine if you want to argue, but make sure you can sustain.
Young sister, kudos to you. I appreciate you, because not only are so-called black women standing up and stepping up and speaking for and on the behalf of so-called black men nowadays, but those demographics that you talk about, that we understand now, we have the options to step out because it's our seed. We are the tree. We begin family. And so we have the authority and the ability to join up with whoever we would like to join up with. And for the most part, men are running back to God. They're understanding what the word really says, what the scriptures really said. They're not playing church. And so as they continue to understand and get the revelation of what Yahweh has said, and they continue to have the Spirit of Christ, they are going to cause a shift that makes things go back into order. And you're going to see kind of a book of Eli. Thank you, Denzel Washington. You're going to kind of see a book of Eli type society, whereas in the spirit, you're going to see these women who have played out their welcome with the feminine, played out their welcome with the globalists. They're going to run back and resort to their racialist aspect, and they're going to find themselves butt out because we have sat back and we've watched how they have destroyed. And there are a lot of ways to prove this, and so you don't have to argue. You don't have to. All you have to do is stand with us. That's what we need, because it's not just you. Again, there are so-called white women, Middle Eastern women, Asian women. There are all kind of demographics that are standing with us. It's not just you all, but all have the courage to stand and speak this message. We appreciate you, because at the end of the day, I love to stick with statistics that you cannot argue, because when you try to go back and forth with emotions, that argument will go nowhere. You will lose. But when you hit people with facts, and that's what you've been doing, my sister, then they have to resort to the little sister spirit, where they are passive aggressive, they nag, they throw insults, they rail all kind of slurs and insults, and they talk little sister smack talk. Only the little sister stands and shouts fatness and you wrong and you don't know what you're talking about, and they yell all these different things, and they clickety clack over the internet, and they say things that some of them probably would never say to your face. And if they do say it to your face, it's not really to your face, it's to your back, because they know if you turned around and slapped fire at them, it wouldn't go well. So kudos to you. Kudos to all the women who are speaking up, of all races. You will have my support, and I will continue to share your content on my platform because you are truly, sincerely rocking with and standing with a true cause. But I want y'all to get a couple of more of these facts that I have to offer to go along with the facts that my young sister here is putting out there, because y'all really need to listen to this.
What would you say is now the #1 cause of death in the African American community?
Heart disease.
Oh, HIV/AIDS.
Diabetes, cancer, AIDS.
I'll say heart disease.
AIDS.
From what I heard, it's probably AIDS, you know.
Probably heart disease.
I think heart disease.
HIV. Gang violence.
What if I told you the real answer was abortion?
Since 1973, legal abortion has killed more African Americans than AIDS, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and violent crime combined. Every week, more blacks die in American abortion clinics than were killed in the entire Vietnam War. And the largest chain of abortion clinics in the United States is operated by Planned Parenthood.
So notice the list. Sticking with the statistical list, they name things that we're used to hearing: heart issues, diabetes, AIDS. They were speaking from a list, but nobody was saying the thing that is easy to miss, which is, get this, he said legal deletion. I'm gonna say deletion because for the sensitive social media waves or platforms, I'm gonna say deletion. So legal deletion. And if you've been paying attention to me for probably about the last 5 years, there was a good majority of these last few years where every start of the year I would release those numbers to y'all about how many abortions were had coming out of one year into the next. And so this is kind of like my way of still kind of staying on that topic, because we're talking about armies and nations that never existed because of legal and illegal, the ones that are underground that you have no idea about, that were never documented or statistically placed. They took place nonetheless, and these are nations and armies that never saw the light of day. Now you take it to the spiritual. When you think about the question that was asked of the Most High Yeshua, when the disciples wanted to know about divorce, well, he answered how he answered, and this is the revelation. He answered the way he answered because you think about the Godhead, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. There is no way that that Godhead is divorcing itself. Since the Bible is a book of marriage, and this union, when you are in salvation and ministers and children, and you're in the body of being the ministers of reconciliation, there's no way that you walk in the courtroom and say something can't be reconciled if you're claiming to be married. And so now it makes sense why Jesus spoke to the disciples the way he did, because he spoke to them in the spirit of marriage. You don't break that, because it's a form of deletion. That A word that I can't say. It's the spirit of deletion, just as much as the physical deletion when you have that child in you. So how is it that our women are so comfortable leading in the numbers? Statistically, how are they so comfortable to delete these armies? And guess what? They blame it on the minority, and they say men are leaving and all this different stuff. Stop it. You physically delete your families, and you spiritually go in court, you go in courts and spiritually delete your families without hesitation, but you wonder why men are changing their minds about you. People think that marriage is stopping and having children is stopping. No, the courtroom marriages are stopping. But people are getting their word, they're studying the amendments, and they're finding out the way that you can get married biblically that has nothing to do with the courts.
We have now reached a point in this country that African American women, though they make up 12% of the population, they account for 37% of the abortions. An African American baby is almost 5 times more likely to be aborted than a white child. The abortion industry at this point kills as many African American people every 4 days as the Klan killed in 150 years. And you can truly say the most dangerous place for an African American to be is in the womb of their African American mother.
So now he said it, I'm going to say it. Whether there is spiritual abortion, meaning divorce, or whether there's natural abortion, meaning that a woman or man didn't do the due diligence of using protection, and now you want to complain about a man not being trustworthy or walking out on you, whatever the case may be, you should be wearing protection at all times if you're going to choose to go there, unless you're married. And when you're married, you stick in it no matter what. Because either way, whether spiritually abortion, divorce, or physical, actually taking the life of that child, you are destroying and dismantling and taking the breath and the heartbeat out of families and nations and kingdoms and armies that seem to have never stood a chance, starting with the womb.